your Batapesh Kumar here, and thank you so much for this. Era. That's the silver play button. I put it up there. And once again, a huge thank you to all of you. Without your support, it would have been impossible. So you guys are great, and thank you so much for all the love and all the support. And today we're going to talk about the Pakistan Airlines A303 crash once again. So the initial report into the accident was released a few days back, and I went through the report and it just blew my mind. It's just impossible. I couldn't believe what I was reading. The report tells us the sequence of events, and what the pilots did on that flight is just unbelievable. As someone who flies the same aircraft, I just could not believe what I read. And today I'm going to share with you guys what actually happened on that flight. So I'm sure all of you remember from the previous videos, the flight was from Lahore to Karachi. The aircraft was an Airbus A320 and they had 91 people on board the aircraft and 8 crew members. The aircraft was doing an ILS approach for runway 25 left in Karachi, and they landed without the landing gears. Basically the landing gears were still retracted when they touched down on the runway, so as a result the engines came in contact with the ground. The aircraft then did a go around, and during the go around both the engines unfortunately failed. Because of that, the aircraft could not maintain altitude and it ended up crashing about 1.3 kilometers short of the runway. But the sequence of events which led up to this landing without the landing gear, it's just unbelievable. And let's have a look at what actually happened. So as you can see in the photos on your screen, the aircraft landed 1300 meters short of the runway and into a street. The speed approximately at touchdown was determined to be 150 knots, which is very slow when you consider the fact that the aircraft had its landing gear down and the flaps were only in position 1. So in position 1 the flaps are out only very slightly, and as a result the lift produced by the wings is not much. 150 knots is just too slow for the aircraft to fly. The RAT was also extended when the aircraft had crashed. From the wreckage, as per the report, it was also determined that both the engines were not producing any thrust when the aircraft crashed. All the blades in the engines were in good condition, which indicates that upon impact the engines were not running, or basically they were not rotating. Also, the lower part of the engines and the wreckage found on the runway along with the skid marks on the runway clearly indicate that the aircraft had touched down on the runway on the engines and not on the landing gear. And this is the sequence of events. Just a quick update before we continue. All of you know about our academy, Vinod Aviation Academy. So we are starting off with a new batch for CPL ground classes from 18th of July. So in case you guys want to clear your DGCA exams, just call us on the numbers on your screen right now or in the description. You can also WhatsApp us, we'll provide you all the information. Also the classes are online, so you don't have to go anywhere. You can just sit at home on your computer and get to learn. The aircraft took off at 1305 from Lahore. The weather was absolutely fine all across the route. In Lahore and Karachi and en route the weather was absolutely fine. As per the cockpit voice recorder, the crew did not follow any standard callouts or any CRM procedures all through the flight. They were mostly discussing about Corona, as it had probably affected their families, and the most of the flight was spent discussing all about COVID-19. The aircraft was cleared for Nawab Shah 2 Alpha arrival for ILS runway 25 left at Karachi. Now Nawab Shah 2 Alpha is basically a standard terminal arrival routing at Karachi. So it's a sequence, or it's a series of points that the aircraft flies to until it finally gets on the final path to land on runway 25 left. So that sequence of points is known as a star, and this particular star is named Nawab Shah 2 Alpha, which is what this aircraft was cleared for. The aircraft was then cleared to fly direct to a point called Makli. Now Makli is just the name of a waypoint, and that particular waypoint is at 15 nautical miles from the runway. So the aircraft had approximately about 15 to 16 nautical miles before it touched down. However, the aircraft was extremely high on the approach. At Makli, they were at about 9,400 feet doing a speed of 245 knots. Now when you're 15 nautical miles away from touchdown, your altitude on an average on a normal approach would be somewhere close to 5,000 feet, actually even less than 5,000 feet. Your speed would be somewhere close to 180 to 200 knots and not 245 knots. Now the ATC had radar. They could see the aircraft altitude and speed, and as a result they even advised PIA 8303 to actually either make an orbit or to discontinue the approach and get some more track miles, fly for some more, descend down a bit lower and then do the approach again. However, the pilots disregarded the ATC instructions or ATC advice and they continued the approach. The pilots finally took the landing gear down at 10 nautical miles from the runway at an altitude of 7,200 feet. Normally on an approach, when you're about 10 nautical miles from the runway, your altitude should be somewhere close to 3,000 feet. These guys were at 7,200 feet. More than double the height of what normally should be. Now being high is not a crime. You can end up high because of a lot of factors. The ATC gave you some direct routing, or you have very strong tailwinds, or there could be hundreds of other factors which can result in an aircraft being high. However, the pilots are supposed to be proactive with it and they should take a decision to bring the aircraft down to a desirable altitude as soon as possible. However, in this case, the pilots took the gear down at 10 nautical miles, which is extremely late to be correcting the flight path of the aircraft. Now after this, the ATC was still monitoring the aircraft on radar and they could see that they were very high. They instructed the aircraft twice to discontinue the approach. Remember, instructed. They told the aircraft to discontinue approach. However, the pilots totally disregarded the air traffic controller's instructions and they still continued the approach. The ATC also warned the pilots once for their excessive altitude, but the pilots were probably too busy trying to handle the aircraft and trying to get back on the correct flight path, and they just disregarded all ATC instructions. And now comes the most bizarre part of the whole approach. The cockpit crew actually retracted the landing gear at 1740 feet. When they were on the glide slope, when they were on the localizer, which means when they were on the correct flight path, for some reason they retracted the landing gear and extended the flaps. Now this is something which is very weird, to be honest. Why would you retract your landing gear at 1740 feet? That just does not make any sense to any pilot in the world. But the cockpit crew for some reason did it. Also, they extended the flaps at a speed of 243 knots. Now the maximum speed for flap extension on the Airbus A320 is 230 knots. They extended the flaps at 243 knots, which is more than the design limitation of the aircraft. As a result, the overspeed warning triggered in the aircraft. At 500 feet, the aircraft was flying with the landing gear up, the flaps in configuration 3 and a speed of 220 knots. To give you some perspective, on a normal regular day-to-day approach at 500 feet, your aircraft configuration should be landing gear down, flaps 3 or flaps full, and your speed should be somewhere close to 140 knots. They were doing 220 knots, which is 80 knots higher than a normal approach speed. For what reason were they flying with the landing gear down and a speed which is so high that it is way beyond the aircraft limitations, and it's just beyond my understanding. Also, the landing gear warning was going off, the overspeed warning was going off, and even the GPWS warning was going off, because the aircraft was descending at 2000 feet per minute at 500 feet. Normal rate of descent should be somewhere close to 750 to 800 feet per minute. They were descending at 2000 feet per minute at 500 feet above the ground. With so many warnings going off, they disregarded everything. They disregarded all the warnings by the aircraft and they disregarded the ATC instructions and they continued the approach. When the aircraft touched down, obviously because the landing gear was retracted, the engines came in contact with the ground first. As a result, several components inside the engines got damaged. The pilots also deployed thrust reversers on the engines. Now thrust reversers further caused damage to the engines. They also applied the brakes. Although the landing gears were not out, they still applied the brakes, which obviously had no effect on stopping the aircraft. But eventually they did realize their mistake and they decided to go around. So for the go around, they added thrust on the engines and the aircraft lifted off again. After liftoff, momentarily for a second, the landing gear lever went down and it was then again put up. the reason for which is still unknown to everyone. So after this happened, after the aircraft went around, the engines, because of their severe damage, eventually gave up. One by one, both the engines totally failed, and then the crew declared an emergency, wherein they told the ATC that they've lost both engines and they asked for a visual approach back to the runway. However, without thrust, the aircraft was unable to maintain altitude. Also, when the engines went out, the flight data recorder on the aircraft stopped recording. That's the design limitation for the Airbus. As a result, further data from the recorder is not available. However, from the wreckage, it is clearly made out that the aircraft crashed at about 150 knots into the street. The landing gear was extended when the aircraft crashed, and also the flaps were in configuration 1. And that resulted in the death of 97 people on board the aircraft. 2 people survived, and apparently 1 person on the ground also died of injuries. Now, the reasons as to why the pilots did what they did will be only known to us when the final report comes out. We can expect the final report to come out in another 2 or 3 months. That's the usual time it takes. But as a pilot, for me and for everyone else who is watching, the actions taken by the flight crew on this particular flight are just bizarre, and they do not honestly make any sense. Why would you land with the landing gear up when you have all the warnings going off? Why would you continue an approach when you're so high on it? Why would you extend flaps at a speed which is beyond the design limitation of the aircraft? All these actions are just very bizarre. Also, this crash, as I'm sure all of you must have heard, has opened a can of worms in Pakistan. 262 pilots out of the approximately 850 pilots in Pakistan are fake. They have either fake licenses, or they have faked their papers, or something is dubious about those people. That is, almost 1 in every 3 pilots in Pakistan is fake, and that is an extremely dangerous situation. More on this in another video, wherein I'll tell you how the same kind of scam of fake pilots had hit India in 2011 and 2012. So if you want to see that video, just drop it in the comments and I'll make one. However, this can of worms in Pakistan should result in something good. Hopefully their system will improve. Hopefully they'll have better pilots in the future. That's pretty much about it from me for today. If you want to read the full report, I'll put a link in the description. You can check it out, read the full report on your own. For now, that's enough for me. I'll see you guys in the next one.